All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next session of Redefine Tomorrow 2022. Right, this session will be covering on Lido and the future of staking. And my name is Unnawut, and we have here, my name is Unnawut, blockchain lead of SCB10X, and we have here Konstantin Lomashuk, co-founder of Lido. Let's get started, right? Konstantin, can you introduce yourself a bit and maybe a bit more about Lido and what do you do at Lido?
Yeah, hi everyone. In 2014, I joined the crypto space. Like first time heard about Bitcoin in 2011. 2014 did the research about all blockchain assets. Then invested in Ethereum ICO. That's how I met Ethereum long time ago. And in 2016, 2017, I ran a fund. In 2018, launched P2P.org staking company, and we run staking for our business for many years, and that's how we came to Lido. Like we saw the big issue in our Ethereum staking, that it would be centralized, and we started to work on liquid staking. That's how we made the decision to help Ethereum to be more decentralized, and also help clients and help users to stake more ETH and secure the network. And we launched Lido in the end of 2020. And it looks like it's very successful with now 30% of Ethereum staking market.
I see. So I think like Lido is basically mainly about proof of stake, right? As a prominent liquid staking protocol, right? Can you explain a bit of like what's proof of stake in general? Like what are the pain points there, and how liquid staking, especially like Lido, solves for those proof of stake?
Yeah, we should understand that like it's a different type of how the network keep to be secure. And Bitcoin was the innovator here, created proof of work, and like when I joined in 2014, I from the day one, when I read the first time white paper of Vitalik Buterin about Ethereum, I was inspired because like, in my point of view, of course, I understand the spending on the security when you do proper work, but they were so high. Now it's about 1% of all electricity. And when you do, like computation in proof of work, you just calculate the hash. And this work is useful because you make security from one side, but it's looked like too expensive, not optimal. And proof of stake was another way where you put your coins on the stake, you put some value, you operate some work, you do some work, and in case of Ethereum, you run the network. And after that, you get some risk. If you do your work bad, or you want to attack the network, then you can be slashed. And if you do everything well, you get rewards. And in it's a like simple explanation what is the staking is, and staking used in proof of stake. And in my point of view, like proof of stake is the next. It's definitely the next bigger security mechanism that I think will be bigger than proof of work pretty soon. And it's different. It has all pluses and minuses. But we waited it from 2014 when the best crypto will move to proof of stake, and it's happening. Ethereum is already the top crypto now. Why? Because it has the most amount of users, it has the biggest TVL, and it's growing, and we are waiting flipping straight after Ethereum will go into proof of stake. Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. So can you explain a bit more on liquid staking though? Because I think there's still confusion about Ethereum having proof of stake, but what does liquid staking actually plays in a role in that kind of like proof of stake?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, liquid staking, it is a solution, and why we need it, like, because in case of Ethereum, you move from proof of work to proof of stake on already network. It's like you move engine in an airplane that is flying, and this is a hard story, and why, and it took about 2 years like to move from proof of work to proof of stake. And how Ethereum developers they want to make it as secure as they can, and that's why they launched Beacon Chain without any transactions. And in this period, you can only stake your ETH, but you can't unstake. And this was a big issue for a lot of people because, I mean, first of all, crypto is volatile. The second is that you make a big decision to lock your ETH, help from one side, Ethereum be more secure, run Beacon Chain. From another side, it was some complexity. For example, you need 32 ETH to run your own validation node. The second, you should be technical enough, you know, like to run the node. And I think people who is running the heroes, you know, like, and then more individual validators we will have, then better. And if you need any help, yeah, send us a message. We will try to help you to run the Solar validator. And but from other side, we see a big demand, you know, like who just want to have yield, or like who want to not run the nodes and do, you know, like to run staking with something else. And what offer did you have in this period? You have only like big institutional providers or exchanges. They already has a lot of ETH, and it was a big issue with centralization because, you know, like you need to choose a person or entity or like with who you will stake your assets. And these entities are centralized, you know, and has a lot of risk inside. And also it was a big exchange. They were ready to pay more yield or more to you. Why? Because they get more from you. Because if they get you as a staker, then they sell you like exchange service, and so they can earn money. And also, you know, like people should trust this person or this entity that it will survive next couple of years until the withdrawals. And in crypto, you know, like sometimes new companies are more risky. And that's why, you know, like it was a big challenge for centralization around Ethereum. That's why we came with the idea of liquid staking. It was already some ideas on that market. For example, Rocket Pool working on that for many years. But we found that it's not capital efficient as much because of their model. And we try to optimize liquid staking for decentralized finance, where people can collateralize all their ETH that they stake. And so we made a solution where you can stake any amount. And when you stake, you can, and also, you know, like it was really complex to stake, even to run 32 ETH, or like if you want 100,000 ETH. And our goal was to make it simple, and the mission of Lido, you know, like is to make it simple, secure, and at the same time to keep Ethereum decentralized. And this is a big challenge, you know. We try to, and we start to work and develop Lido as a smart contract application. So where the user can deposit any amount of tokens from 0. Any, you know, to 100,000 is in one transaction, and get, you know, like staked assets back. So like when you deposit release, you get a token for it, one-to-one, like you get staked ETH. And also in the staked ETH, we gave like Lido give like yield, so new emission. So you don't need to wait 2 years, you get your rewards right now. And also you are liquid, so you can sell your staked ETH on the market. And at the same time, if you want to stake with many validators, Lido do it for you. You know, like it redistributes the stake, your ETH that you deposited to many validators. For now, it's about 29.
Yeah, so I think interesting that you mentioned liquid staking is like if you want to stake in Ethereum, you actually have to wait at least 2 years before you can actually unlock. And I think we haven't had a date where the withdrawal will be open yet, right? It's just a merge first. Now I wanna touch a bit on STEs, Lido's ETH, right? Staked ETH. There's a recent mention that STEs depegged from ETH, and I think that's a little bit unfair towards liquid staking and Lido. Can you explain a bit more about the STEs pegging, and can you say a bit more of whether are we supposed to use the word depeg or what it actually means?
Yeah, I want to go back about 2 years log, like because it was when I told you about when Lido launched, now it's much more when you stay here. I mean, the merges are happening, and we hope the merge will happen, like in a couple months in September, and Lido ready for it. And then it will be, we need to wait withdrawals, and it can take more 6 months when withdrawals will be available. But it's yeah, for now it's a different position. About the price, when we designed StakeTeas in the 2020s, we came to Tarun, to Galvin, and say, guys, let's model it. And when we tried to model it, we didn't make a deal by some reason. Galvin was too busy, but we speak a lot about and discuss. And our prediction was that the volatility of stake will be 10 times bigger. So if we will build a model, we will build more volatile model. We couldn't predict that it would be so stable, and so like Lido StakeTeas doesn't have a peg. It can be big. The price can be ever more than ETH. Why? Because you can mint new StakeTeas. So arbitrage can like just take more ETH and take this price difference. So never more than one, but it can be lower than one. And we should say that StakeTeas has risk as a smart contract risk, as a staking risk, as a governance risk. And for now, you don't have an option to redeem your StakeTeas. Why? Because withdrawals are not available. And so in some market conditions, the price can go down, and it's what's happening. So from one side, you have a trend to stake new ETH. So for now, we stake, for example, 12% of ETH, and it will go up, I don't know, up to 60 long term, And that means that if you see that stake ETH is cheaper than one, then it's better offer for you to buy, and in the same time you get additional yield. But in some bad market conditions, the price can go much more down, up to zero. Like you should understand that this is the market price. And why? And when that's what happened with Terra. When the Terra, Celsius, and Syriac even happened, in my view, like StakeTeas was really battle tested by this condition, and the price didn't go too far. Like in that condition, when big three centralized projects like Terra, like Celsius, and three Arrows go down, and they had like millions of staked Ethereum. It shows how staked Ethereum is liquid. It shows that market trust staked Ethereum, and it shows that market finds the price, like find the real price of staked Ethereum for current moment, and it stabilized from this shock.
Interesting, because I think STE was one of the talk of the town during when the Celsius had the default issues, right? And then there's a lot of people saying that, oh, the STE is being liquidated into ETH and so on, and so Leepay. But it turns out that even though the STE actually went below ETH price for a while, it's actually recovering, right? I think, and it's going up from, I think, discount of 6% down to 3%. So it's interesting there how strong the STE has been able to hold up. I want to touch a bit on the merge, because I think this is a very big thing. And I think Sasso last week dropped a date on the mainnet merge, right? I think 19th of September or something like that. What's your view on the merge right now? Do you think we are going to be like on target this time? Or any obstacle you think might be coming up?
When you develop such complex products, and even when they already battle tested, run and Beacon Chain run like 1-2 years, yes, or like in almost 1.5 years in production, then like you still has a lot of chance that it can be moved, the date can be moved, and it's okay, like we shouldn't rush with it, we shouldn't be I mean, it's normal for such a complex thing when you start to run 7, 6, 7, 8 different clients in a moment, and you move to different, code base if you discuss it, or if you start to use proof of stake, and also but I'm really optimistic. I'm always optimistic. I'm optimistic about Ethereum from 2014. So and this will be a bigger, event for us. So we will celebrate it that that is moved to proof of stake, and it was so many efforts done by Ethereum Foundation, by client teams. They're all heroes, what they are doing and how they're delivering and how they are managing the stuff. And it doesn't matter, will be September. I'm optimistic. I don't see any issues for now. Maybe during next testnet, there can be some issues. But I'm really optimistic that it will happen this year. And so we will together celebrate it.
Yeah, so interesting. So I think to touch on a bit about the merge and Lido, as far as I know, I checked the node validations on Lido right now. I think you have about 30 plus operators, right? And in total, you have hundreds of thousands of validators just within Lido. How can you share a bit how Lido is preparing so far to onboard all these validators to be ready for the merge?
Yeah, Lido is a smart contract where it's accept is and just by round robin automatically this is taken with validators that are registered in a Lido registry. And as a Lido has a really great master of validators. His name is Isidorus, and he did a lot of efforts and work together with all operators to be sure that all the operators are ready to the merge. And also, Lido dev team were prepared because when we will go to when merge happened, it is some option, some additional things that we can do, and now Lido is ready, the merge, and Lido validators are ready. So the only things that could happen, in my point of view, is if we see any issues during the testnets, then merge can move for a couple months. But from other side, also validators of Lido are ready to the merge.
I see. And I think lastly, I saw quite a few client teams already onboarded onto Lido. So they'll also be one of those Lido operators as well. So I think interesting to see so many parties getting on board into getting the merge ready for mainnet. So going to be exciting times. I think we talked a lot about Ethereum on Lido so far, right? I want to touch a bit on other chains as well, because Lido is not limited to Ethereum, right? Can you explain a bit more on going into different chains like Solana and Polkadot, and can you explain a bit more on what kind of benefits or the knowledge or know-how that you brought over from Ethereum? How are you scaling that? Not just within one chain, but across to Solana and Polkadot.
Yeah, I want to touch this clients teams tour theme, because Lido helped clients team, from 2021. So it was the first grant when we did for clients team, and it was in 2021. It was a small grant, about 50K per each team. But when you speak with clients, there are teams and they said the biggest thank you for this grant, small grant, not we did in 2022 much bigger 2 million of Lido, but in that times they had some issues with their financing of the teams, and it was a bigger thing. For now, when we onboarding them to validator set, it means that they will run the nodes, and they should be the best people here, who can run this software, and in the same time they will have a business model, so they will have a revenue from Ethereum network and making it secure. And this is, in my point of view, the best actors that should be rewarded from one side, and from other side who will bring, the best validation service. And they can do it by ourselves a lot because they don't have a lot of ease. And that's where Lido work well. It's take and help users to stake money with the best teams like clients. Yeah, to your questions with the different other networks. First of all, Lido focused on Ethereum, like from day one. And Ethereum is a headquarter of Lido, and all other networks. So we have a team who work initially on Ethereum, and it's focused only on Ethereum. And but we understand that it is some other networks with proof of stake. And for Lido, it was experiment, where some additional teams like Horus, like Mixbytes, like some others, start to work and develop liquid staking for other chains. And it's complex. It's not the same like to just deploy ARF to, ARF is a great product, yes, but it's much more easier or curve to deploy to any EVM. In case of Lido, you need to rewrite all the code and logic. Why? Because the staking work different in each network, and it has own complexity. And so which Lido choose a model where they like a franchise choose a team that can develop a liquid staking product for this new chain and get some revenue from it. And in my point of view, it was successful. Now Lido is, you can stake with Lido on Polkadot, on Solana, on Polygon, on Kusama, and maybe one or two, some other networks, yes. And we should understand that this is a product depend really from decentralized finance, because when you stake your asset, you have two options: go straight with staking, and on other networks, staking and unstaking is much more simple than in Ethereum. So you can do it in a wallet, you have already infrastructure, and it's low risk if you will go. It is some risk if you only choose one validator, then you have some risk that you're staking with only one validator and you have a bigger slashing risk. But when you're going with liquid staking, you also have additional risk of smart contracts. And this logic is that you need where can be issues. And so like if you don't have additional upside in decentralized finance, to use your collateral for example, dots or sols are staked as a collateral. And if DeFi is not so popular in this network, then liquid staking share is not also a big one. And in Ethereum, I think we have the biggest network effect. Why? Because DeFi, it's the heart of Ethereum.
I see. So let's touch a bit on institutions. I think Coinbase just announced about having liquid staking for institutions. Does Lido have any plan to offer that? What's your view on like that kind of like market for institutions?
First of all, I think that Lido is the biggest player in the market, and the second is that it's already used by institutional. A16Z staked with Lido. Some, bigger players and people who were big players like Celsius, Nexar, and I don't know, like different funds, like liquid funds, and some big institutional are choosing stake this. Why? Because it's the most liquid. And what's Coinbase doing? They just try to position because they have a lot of ETH that are on their platform, and they use their position to convert and earn more from their users. And this is, I think, not really good behavior when, for example, they not provide any other solution to their clients. For example, they don't provide stake TIS to their clients. Why? Because they just compete. And but it's their decision, and they also try to say that they're building like liquid staking for institutional, but it looks like they building something similar that Lido is building already. And in general, stake TIS can be used by any party, and it's a really good fit and the best liquidity, and the best has the most amount of integrations. So institutional already use Lido, and Lido is already a leader here.
I see. Okay, cool. I have one extra question that I don't have on the list right now, but I want to ask you. So I looked from Dune Analytics just now before our call. So 65% of the ETH2 is staked in staking pools, and 90% of those staking pools are actually owned by Lido, right? I think some people say there's a concern of centralization risk under Lido. Can you explain a bit more if you think that's a valid concern, and what has been like so far that Lido has been working on to kind of like help solve this kind of like issue, like centralization risk?
Yeah, well, like we are, I think, the most open people here. So, I mean, Lido is publicly discussing all the issues, because when the market start to choose the one staking, liquid staking derivative, or like asset, and it's like a network effect. It's like the same with, I think, USDC, Tether, and other products, where the market start to like allocate more and more capital. And it is a centralization issue, but we should understand where is it. So where is the risk? The risk is in governance of Lido, the risk in smart contracts, and the bigger Lido share, if the risk will happen, the more the better the situation can be. Yes, but what is the end game for Lido? The end game for Lido is to mitigate all this risk. First of all, I mean, Lido has a proposal of dual governance, where we try to mitigate if Lido token governance will attack, for example, stake ETH holders. How it will work is that if Lido DAO vote, stake ETH holders, so real ETH holders and who will use this token, can block proposal. Some other way, so Lido want to, like minimize any government decision for states and make it their code base as stable as it can. But it's still, like a lot of things that we need to be done to make a final version of states, because for now, withdrawals are not available, so you can't implement all the logic. The main idea in future to have a permissionless validator set, or partly permissionless, and it's also a lot of work. And the main idea to make, state is in future risk-free, and to try to put all this risk down. And yeah, because like in general, stake is just better because with plain ETH you can participate in DeFi, you can pay gas, and you can and you have ETH, and with stake ETH you can do almost all the same. For now you can pay gas, but in the future maybe, and you get yield from securing the network, and this bring a lot of additional cases for staked Ethereum. And so I think it is an issue Lido that should be developed, and we have a lot of dependencies, but the goal of Lido end game is to make it as risk-free and as ungoverned as the Lido can do.
I see. So I think this resonates a lot with like A16Z that talks about progressive decentralization, right? You make something work first, you make something efficient first, then start decentralize it, which I think like Lido does that pretty well. So I think we are less than 1 minute left. Do you have any last words for our attendees that you want to give out, or for someone who want to participate in proof of stake? What's the best way for them to start?
Yeah, first of all, run your own nodes. If you can, please do. We will try to facilitate it with Lido too, and we are working on it. Second, we are in a big moment right now, everyone. So the merge will happen. Whether supply or emission will going down. So I think if you don't have such bad macroeconomy, it's a really bullish moment for all industry. And I think that we just, to everyone who maybe has some issues with bear market, just keep building. This is the best time to build, and the best products always were built in a bear market. So keep building, guys. Let's do it together.
All right. So thank you so much, Konstantin. So that comes to our end of the session, Lido and the future of staking. Thank you so much, Konstantin, for joining, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.